Here at Blue Apron, we know exactly how hectic school nights can be. That's why we created Assemble and Bake. Delicious one-pan meals that make family dinner simple. Just assemble the pre-chopped ingredients and put the pan in the oven to bake. Then you're free to help out with that last-minute diorama. Shop Assemble and Bake at BlueApron.com. Get 50% off your first 2 orders with code APRON50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit BlueApron.com/terms for more.
All righty, I'm here with Tom. How's it going?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. How about you?
Feeling good. Yep. We're
Good
coming
stuff.
towards the end of the World Cup. It's been pretty good. I'm beginning to feel, I don't know about you, but I'm beginning to feel that the talk about the price we've paid for this World Cup, or I say we, the price migrant workers have paid for this World Cup is beginning to be forgotten by media coverage, which I think was probably inevitable, but especially because the football has actually been very, very good and dramatic. So.
Yeah, it's definitely felt like Qatar have got everything they wanted from this World Cup. You've just heard, well, you've heard less of the negative chat, especially on broadcast media. It's just dissipated throughout the tournament, and the compliments have just proliferated, really. Like, you just think of like, oh, it's just so great that it's all held in like one city. And during the Croatia game, I heard that they were talking about, Croatia were talking about themselves, how they've really benefited energetically from not flying across the country like they did in Russia and they did in Brazil. Whereas here, and you just hear like the commentators talking about that, being like, oh yeah, it's so great in that respect, and talking about the great stadiums and all that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, you've kind of forgotten who built this and at what cost. And yeah, it's like I say, it's been everything that Qatar could have ever wanted. Whereas I think if the football had been less exciting, I think back to especially the start of the South Africa World Cup, where it was quite drab. The vuvuzelas were annoying a lot of people. Yeah. And I think there was a lot of racially charged language that was kind of bandied about at the start of that World Cup. The pitches weren't particularly great. The football, like I say, was quite drab. There weren't many goals. The Jabulani was causing loads of problems. And I think a lot of people used that to kind of beat that a certain type of person, used that to kind of beat South Africa with. Yeah. And there's been none of that in this World Cup, because the football has just been so good that it's kind of, it hasn't completely extinguished all the conversation, but it's really done a good job. Yeah.
I mean, I think it being during the season, so we haven't got a load of knackered players. It helps. It's a compressed timeline. It's 29 days rather than 32 or 33 that we've had for recent World Cups. The stadiums are within half an hour of each other, and all of this has contributed to, I think, and tactically as well. I think many teams are attacking, even those that look defensive, like Morocco, throw 6 players forward with every attack. So it's all contributed to a really good tournament from a football perspective. I think I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think we remember what it's cost. And it's kind of interesting, like we had the drama with a European Parliament MP being arrested this week for apparently taking bribes off the Qataris for voting in their favour in the European Parliament, which has little to no power anyway. But it just kind of reminded me of how the Qataris got this World Cup in the first place. I guess that the FIFA Exco members were a little more careful with how they got their bribes than the European Parliament members. But, it was bought and paid, and both with money and with the lives of migrant workers. And it's worthwhile remembering that as we enjoy the football. But the football's been really good as well. I'm really like the semi-finals were exciting. I mean, I guess in a sense, the two favourites sort of going through is counter to what a lot of has happened during this World Cup. But both games were really, I mean, I know Argentina, Croatia wasn't quite as close as it could have been, but Morocco were on top for so much of the game against France. Incredible they didn't score, and they just didn't have enough, and France were brutally clinical in the moments they had. So, I mean, we got a great final. We got the final the Qataris wanted. Their two faces in the final, helped by some interesting refereeing, I think.
True.
But good football in the semi-finals too.
Yeah, it's like you say, Morocco weren't clinical in the final third. It felt like they just almost like refused to shoot at times. Like Abdel Razak, who came on the number 9, where he beat about 3 players in the box. And I think the last one he was trying to beat was Varane, who's been, I think, really good in this tournament.
Yeah.
Like Pamecano and Kouyaté have swapped with that position, and Varane's always been the constant in the France team. I mean, he's been awesome for United all season. It's great to see him come back from that injury in such great form. But yeah, from Abdel Razak, when he beat a couple of players, it's like, just shoot, and he just didn't. Yeah. And I think that's the difference between France. I think that was the difference between France and the England game as well. Is I think they're really boring. They're really boring. For such a great team, they're really boring. But it's in those crucial moments, they're just clinical, and it's their class that tells them apart. It's like against England, they weren't particularly great, and England were on top for large parts of that game. But personally, I never thought that France were going to lose. It almost felt like they always had another gear to kind of get to, and it felt like a bit like that in the Morocco one. It felt like if Morocco would score, then France are just going to kind of up another gear again and be clinical when it matters, like they have been and like they always are. It's an annoying, boring football to watch, in my opinion, but it's been damn effective, obviously, because they're in the second World Cup final for the second.
Again, Deschamps is going to go down as one of the world's great coaches, and that's sickening, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, actually, the happenstance of injuries has helped Deschamps in a way, because he's had the France are actually, I think, a bit more fluid, especially in transitional periods, than they were at the last World Cup. And in the centre of the park, Kanté is not quite the player he was, and obviously got injured. And Paul Pogba does even less defending than he once did, and he got injured. And they've got in Tchouaméni, who might not have played otherwise. They've got a really dynamic midfield. And the fact that Lucas Hernandez got injured and his brother Theo Hernandez is in the team, much more attacking left back, I think has released Mbappe to play more centrally and cut inside, because he's got this overlapping fullback he wouldn't have had otherwise. Yeah. And it just seems that like the happenstance of those injuries has helped France in a way. And I think even Benzema being out and Giroud being in has helped, because they've got a focal point that they wouldn't have had. Very different forward, and it allows Mbappe and Dembele to play off him. And so in a sense, I think that's helped them. But they still play in a very conservative way. I mean, they played against Morocco. Morocco played a flat back 5. And I guess we're thinking they'd have to set out to defend a lot of the time. Ended up having 60% possession.
Yeah.
And just couldn't make those moments count. And Varane was immense, and actually the whole of the back 4 for France defended those moments in deeper areas really, really well, didn't they? But it's just kind of interesting that I don't think they're perfect, this France side, by any means. No. But they, in a sense, are more attacking than they might otherwise have been, than Deschamps' instincts probably would have taken them towards without a number of those injuries.
Yeah, I think, like you say, Tchouaméni's been awesome. And I heard someone say that he's almost like a mix of Pogba and Kanté, because he can do both of what those two guys are good at. Maybe not to the same extremes that those two can perform at, but he has everything, doesn't he? Obviously, he scored that beautiful goal against England, which had kind of been absent from what he'd mostly looked like in this tournament, because his defensive work is so good. He's so clean on the ball. He's so quick across the ground. He has everything. So he can bring that kind of, like, both of those two characteristics to that game. And then also Griezmann alongside him, playing so much deeper than we've ever seen him before. It's just been it's been awesome. I think he's potentially
reinvented himself for this World Cup, hasn't he? Yeah,
really has.
I mean, if Bellingham is Brian Robson, then I think Tchouaméni is Roy Keane. I mean, I'm not saying he's good as Roy Keane. Before you tweet at me, I'm just saying he's that kind of all-round player. But he's been very good. So anyway, I'm a bit sick of praising France. Sickener, isn't it?
They're just. I think the only thing that's kind of frustrating with France for me is like you see their team on paper. You look at Dembele, who's having a really good season with Barcelona for the first time in a while. They've got Mbappe, who's arguably the best player in the world right now. They've got Griezmann, who is such a great attacking talent. And yeah, like you say, they have 40% of possession against Morocco. I think Morocco had not had positive percentage possession throughout the whole tournament.
Right.
And they're just very attritional. And I think that's what kind of Deschamps is all about. Is all about winning. Like as a player, he was a great winner. Like obviously he won the World Cup as a player, as a captain. He won a lot of stuff with Juventus. And I think before that as well, when he was just there in Marseille, did he win the Champions League with
Can't
Marseille?
remember.
I don't remember, but anyway, he's a born winner, and that's kind of just all he's about, and that's what all France are about, and they're very good at doing it. It's just kind of,
well, if you're going to take that maximalist approach, you have to win, don't you? I mean,
exactly.
If you're going to play that kind of boring football, if you don't win, it's not worthwhile, and it's the sense I have often had during Gareth Southgate's time, because you know he studied France. He said this. He looked at how they won tournaments, and he's kind of modelled England on that. And I think in this tournament, England are actually more attacking than they have been in other tournaments.
Yeah,
and Bellingham has really helped that. But if you're going to take that maximalist approach, winning is everything, and that's that's where I came to my conclusion about Gareth Southgate. Great progress. Amazing progress if you think where England were in 2016, losing to Iceland out of the tournament, pathetic. They'd done nothing in the 5 or 6 tournaments before that as well. And it's been a semi-final and a final and a quarter-final in the tournament. So in a sense, it's great progress. He didn't win anything and he played like that. And I'm like, oh, well, was it worth it? I mean, maybe, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of feeling I always had with Mourinho. As soon as United weren't winning, what was the point?
Yeah. I think that's what France are. They are quite a Mourinho team. I thought that at the last World Cup. I've thought that even more at this World Cup. That they are a Mourinho team, and I guess when you are winning, it's fine. Like Deschamps gonna not think. Well, people are not going to think in 30, 40 years' time when they look at who won back-to-back World Cups. They're not going to go, yeah, okay, they might have won back-to-back World Cups, but they did it in a boring way. Us people, I guess, who lived it will remember that, or will probably forget it anyway. But it's in terms of legacy, I guess they maybe don't really care. As long as we win it, that's fine. Whereas if we look at the other semi-final, Argentina, what makes them so good is their absolute chaoticness. Because throughout this tournament, they've just been, wild. Like, obviously losing to Saudi Arabia, going to Holland and losing 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. They're infallible, they're vulnerable, and it makes them exciting. Whereas France are just not, but win.
I kind of worry for Argentina in the final because so much has gone through Messi. And if France just take the position that they're just going to try and crowd him out of the game, and I don't know whether they'd go man for man or just take another approach to trying to get him out of the game, then have Argentina got enough elsewhere to really hurt France. I mean, obviously, Julian Alvarez scored a couple of goals in the last game, but I don't think he's going to sort of make the game on his own. Enzo Fernandez could, maybe. I mean, he's a really good central midfielder, obviously going to go for a lot of money next summer or whenever he leaves Benfica. But it just feels like it's too easy is not the right word. It's too possible to nullify Argentina in this game.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like I don't think their fullbacks are particularly great. They're energetic, but I don't think they're particularly great. I think, like you say, Enzo Fernandez is that one player who can produce a little bit of magic in that respect, just out of nothing, as similar to Messi. Like you say, I don't think Alvarez is particularly like that. I think he's a perfect partner in many respects for Messi because he's the energy and the legs beside him. He's the presser. He has obviously got talent as well. but just not that mercurial talent, which I think they might need in this game, because I feel like they're going to have a lot of the ball as France kind of just cede it, especially if they go 1-0 up. It will be difficult to break them down. And I also fear for Argentina a little bit defensively. I think when Holland really tested them, I know they tested them through the air, but when Saudi Arabia tested them, they look vulnerable when they are attacked.
Yeah.
Whereas like Mexico, when they played in Poland, they weren't great. They didn't show much attacking threat throughout this tournament. And then Croatia as well have not been a great attacking threat in this tournament either. So, and their other one was Australia again. Whereas Holland, when they really put them under threat, they completely buckled. Again, like I say, it was a different way. It was going to like long ball football, but I think you can get at the Argentinian defense. Otamendi, as we've seen for years and years, not great, and they prefer him to Lisandro Martinez. Very odd. And I think Mbappe and Dembele could cause them a lot of problems, especially in behind and also in between the centre backs and the full backs, because I don't think the full backs are particularly great either. It's very funny speaking about this, like a team who are potentially one game away from winning the World Cup, but I think there's so many weaknesses in this Argentina team. And maybe just
there really is, yeah. And there's the other frustration, isn't it? As a England, I don't know what the right word is, supporter. I am during tournaments, and then I get annoyed with them the rest of the time and couldn't give a crap. But that's the thing. France vulnerabilities, not perfect, were beatable as we saw in that quarterfinal. Argentina, even less perfect. The most complete team was Brazil, and they managed to blow it.
Yeah.
So this was an opportunity, but that's tournament football. Only one team goes home the winners, but definitely two, I think, imperfect teams.
I think
France, I think, are the better one, but can Lionel Messi do some magic? I mean, he has done for a lot of this tournament, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think that's what we spoke about at the start when we did our World Cup preview. We spoke about how few teams are complete in this tournament, and I don't think we spotted any. And it's kind of been the way, like it's arguably been, it's been a very exciting tournament, but arguably like tactically and technically, maybe not a great one. Like I feel like there's definitely been a leveling up, but I think that's not just a case of the teams at the bottom getting better. It's probably a case of the teams at the top coming down towards the mean as well. And I think it kind of is orchestrated with what we've got in the final. And I don't know. I think that potentially France are probably going to have too much. I think they're going to probably attritionally do what they've done throughout this tournament and beat Argentina with competency.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suspect that's probably true. I mean, Mbappe versus Molina, and they played as box midfield as well, Argentina, don't they? It's not. I mean, I guess McAllister will probably be the deepest of them, maybe. Or Paredes, not sure. Try and deal with Griezmann, and Molina's going to have trouble 1v1, I think. I mean, Messi is not going to be tracking back to cover against Mbappe, is he? So that is going to be a challenge for Argentina. It does feel like France have got too much here, but possibly last World Cup game for Lionel Messi. It's not like they won't be up for him. As I think it was Otamendi. Was it Otamendi said we want to die for him? So they might literally do that if they get a bit fighty, as they did against the Netherlands.
It does feel like the narrative is written for Messi. I mean, he's had an unbelievable tour. I say unbelievable. We've not seen things from him that we've never seen before. Obviously, it's just I didn't think he had it in him to do the things
to keep going like this. Yeah, no. I mean, I think he's set up his season for this, hasn't he? He doesn't do anything off the ball. He just kind of stands still, wanders around slowly. I just conserves his energy, which is fair enough.
I just didn't think he had it in him to still beat players like he did, like beating Guardiola, who's potentially been the best defender at this tournament, who's wanted by clubs all over Europe. To beat him 4 times, as he kind of did in that move, and then that's why I think it's unbelievable that he's still doing it, and it does feel very much so that it's set up for him to win this now. But then you also look at the other narrative, like the counter narrative to that. It's like it kind of also feels like it's set up potentially for him to come up short once again at the World Cup because of Argentina's, or just the way it's kind of always happened at international football for him. Though that narrative has seemed to have changed because obviously the Copa America and the fans all being behind him, like the team all being behind him. It feels, I don't know. I think I'm buying way too much into narrative rather than actual logic here, but that's just the way sometimes football goes. It's almost like metaphysical. Like you look at Real Madrid's victory in the Champions League this season, it defied logic, and then it feels like this may do the same on Sunday. If it doesn't, then it's completely logical.
We always
that
like
France
to rationalise things, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And France feels like a very logical win. Anyway,
it does. I will not be supporting them personally. I think, as many of us do, we gravitate towards the underdog, and in this one, I guess Argentina are the underdog. Plus, there's the narrative. Plus, Messi seems like not an absolute arsehole, as some others do. I can't say I've really taken to Mbappe. Brilliant on the pitch, but like he's got a few unpleasant traits as well. So I don't know. It's all stupid, isn't it? But it will be a fascinating final. It's not a late kickoff, so I wonder whether the temperature will make a difference or not. I mean, it's what, early evening. I'm trying to think what time in Qatar is for that game. 7
yeah,
or
about
8,
7ish.
like
I think. Yeah.
Probably. I don't think temperatures have really impacted that many, except for what's the stadium 974 or whatever it is. The one that doesn't have as much air conditioning in it.
Yeah.
It's been a bit hotter. So.
But I guess they've been there for so long as well. Now they should be. I guess they'll be very much acclimatized to it, and yeah. I mean, we'll see whether we've had quite a few penalty shootouts. Will it go that far? The drama of it is always great when you're not involved, I have to say. It really is.
Dramatic extra time and penalties. And Leo Messi, has he converted all his penalties this World Cup? Because historically, he's actually not got a very good... He's missed one, because I think he's below average.
Yeah.
So I think something like for penalty conversion, which doesn't make any sense when you're Leo Messi, and surely you can put a ball in the net from 12 yards.
It makes no sense. He has like the best left foot we've ever seen. And I mean, there's obviously some players like Sinisa Mihailovic who died today, sadly.
Yeah.
He had an unbelievable left foot.
Right.
But Messi,
a wonderful left foot, as you might say.
Yeah, exactly. The classic term, football cliches, Adam Hurrell. Though Messi, it just feels like he can put the ball anywhere he wants, but for some reason he just always seems to put it at a nice...
I mean, if you asked him, he would put like 100 out of 100 right in the top corner. Yeah,
and like he did against Croatia, that was just like an unstoppable penalty, which I thought that Messi would be able to repeat 99 times out of 100, like you say. Whereas, against Poland, he hit it at a comfortable height, in inverted commas, for Szczesny. And he just has missed a lot of penalties, which is really weird. And then he also changed his technique earlier in this tournament, where was it the Holland game where he walked up and I think twice and hit his penalty. Yeah, he was the Holland.
The stutter thing.
Yeah. And then against Croatia, he changed it. So it would be it'd be written for him to either miss or score a penalty, I think, in that final.
All narrative, isn't it?
It's all narrative. Football is narrative. Maybe.
Very good. All right. Take a little break. Come back to talk about Burnley. There's Manchester United stuff going on. Apparently.
It feels so weird.
We've got a game against Burnley in 4 days' time, or something like that.
Feels so weird. It's going to be really hard to adapt to that. I mean, it's not. I don't think it is, but it's just like there's been so much relentless football that you just jump back straight into it with a not particularly exciting Carling Cup week, but it's going to be fun to see the lads again.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've seen them training. They obviously had the 2 friendly games, which are a bit pointless because there's hardly any of the first team actually playing in them. I think most of the players are back training now or about to be back training, though I'd be really surprised if we get too many of the World Cup players. Maybe Ericsson because they went out early.
Yeah.
But I think many, and Jabri, No, he's on loan. What am I talking about? So he went out early too,
Yeah.
but he'll be back with Birmingham. So yeah, probably a sort of mix of players who weren't at the World Cup and some second string.
And you wonder what's going to happen.
I imagine.
You wonder what's going to happen with like Lisandro and Varane. Like, how long is it going to take?
They need a bit of
they can't just come back
a couple
next
of weeks
weekend.
off. I imagine.
Yeah, you think so? They can't just come back next weekend after a World Cup final if they win or lose. Obviously.
Well, that's right. No, I'm sure they're going to need time off, a little break, and then a week of training. So we won't see either of them till sort of mid-January, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Which is
I'd be definitely not. I'd be absolutely shocked if they play any football this year. Yeah. United have got 3 games. It's Burnley in the Cup, and then Forest and Wolves, I think it is, in the Premier League. Before the new year.
And there are 2 best centre-backs. I mean, like Harry Maguire had, we have to say that I think it almost was like written for us to say that Harry Maguire had a good World Cup because everyone was talking about it. I personally thought he had an okay World Cup. Like he did fine against a lot of average teams, and he always plays well.
Yeah, if he'd been a millisecond faster to get to Giroud, that wouldn't have been goal. Just say, don't want to blame Harry completely, but just a little bit faster.
And I think that is the difference at the top level. Like, I think that's also, they're the kind of games that France win and England lose because of that tiny bit of quality that can be fine for Harry Maguire against Iran and fine against Wales, but not fine when you're playing against the top level. And that's where we've seen just with Varane how much better he is than Harry Maguire in so many different facets. Lisandro is obviously better as well, but he's a lot more different. Whereas Varane, he's so classy. He's just so classy and so smooth and so intelligent. Whereas Maguire, he's just... it's almost... it's like a robot in comparison.
Just not as good.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's just not as good. And I think the thing that helps him at international football is that you don't get the high pressing and fast transitions as much. I mean, some teams obviously press and transition quickly, but not quite as much. And that just suits him better, basically. Yeah, I think that's why he tends to stand out in these tournaments rather than a club football. And so you get a lot of people going, "Oh, Man United fans, why are you having to go at Maguire? What's your agenda?" These people don't watch him every week.
And I don't even think he was that good at this World Cup. He was just, because I think people are comparing him to almost like the joke version that they've come to expect with Harry Maguire. Oh, we didn't punt the ball out of play, or we didn't make this catastrophic error, so he's played well at this tournament. I think he's just been fine, but he's obviously going to be back in the team, and yeah, I guess it'll be Lindelof alongside him, which is
scary.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Maybe it's okay for a game against Burnley, but it's going to be a little while of that. Ten Hag praised Maguire, said he hopes he brings his confidence and form back, which, absolutely, we hope he does. But I think we've got enough of Harry Maguire that we know exactly what he is.
Yeah.
And so as soon as Varane is fit, Varane will be in the team. Lisandro Martinez not played as much, but obviously he's still deep into the tournament. So maybe he's back a few days earlier or something like that, a game earlier. He'll be back in the team too. Mm-hmm. I've no doubt about it. So, and good luck, Harry, with your next adventure, wherever you move to next summer, because I suspect that'll be going on. Other stuff that happened with United this week, I talked about the financials on the last pod, but we had Avram Glazer at the World Cup. And a lot of people going, look, he's come to enjoy the football. No, he's not come to enjoy the football. He's come to network with every sheikh and prince and a billionaire that's attending the World Cup, because United are trying to sell the club.
Yeah. Please don't sell us to.
Yeah.
I don't know, Saudi.
Yeah. Well, there aren't. Well, unfortunately, there aren't too many sovereign wealth funds left for United to be sold to. That it makes sense. I mean, I can't remember who it was. One of the royal family in the Saudi Arabia said yes, they'd welcome a private sector bid. It doesn't exist.
Private sector, yeah, nice one.
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, things might literally be IPO'd or a private business, but they're not disassociated from the state.
Well, that's what the Newcastle fans always talk about and pretend, isn't it?
Oh my God. The Sovereign Wealth Fund. Do people know what either of those words mean? I mean, clearly the Premier League doesn't.
No.
It's absolutely bonkers that imagine a department of the UK government buying Manchester United and go, no, it's nothing to do with the government.
Yeah.
It's just the Department of Sport and Culture or whatever it's called. We just feel like buying a football club. It's nothing to do with the government. That's what happened in Newcastle. Anyway, so yes, if Saudi Arabia feel like buying United, they can obviously do that. And there's a precedent now, so it would be funneled through some cousin of the royal family's business or whatever it is. And it's possible. It took people talking about the Bahraini, other royal families as well. Maybe Dubai doesn't have the same kind of mineral wealth as Abu Dhabi, but obviously they've been diversifying their economy, so that could be. My bet is still on a mix of sport wealth plus hedge fund wealth or private equity money. Some kind of mix of that would be my bet still, but they've apparently been hawking United around at $40 a share, which is somewhere between £6 and £7 billion, which seems optimistic, but hey, maybe.
Do you not think Ratcliffe's got a chance?
Well, he hasn't really got the money unless he liquidated Ineos, so it would still have to be a consortium.
Yeah.
If they can put together that kind of money.
I think.
Because you know what? The Glazers aren't selling this for legacy.
No, not quite. I'm trying to think what the kind of the best case solution is. I think what you kind of say is like the hedge fund and US sport taking over us. The US sporting business taking over us kind of is so much better than a sovereign wealth fund. Still not ideal, is it? Because nothing is going to be ideal these days, is it? It's just the way that football is.
Yeah, true. But if you get a competent US sports franchise owner, then United are actually going to be successful.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Competence. Just has the right people in the right place, understands how to structure it, is strong on analytics and data, and has, we think, in Erik ten Hag, a high-quality coach, then United is going to be successful.
Yeah.
The Glazers, for all their pulling money out the club, over £1 billion in interest and fees, and then plus all the dividends. So, add it up to 1.x. Even if a private equity comes in and buys United, they probably won't be taking dividends out. They're probably looking at asset appreciation as their route out in however many years. And if they're competent and do it right, then United will be in a good position. It's the grubby side of sports capitalism, but it's better than sport washing, sovereign wealth fund, or incompetent ginger idiots like we have now.
Yeah, I think I follow the NFL closely as well, and you see how Tampa Bay are reverting to mean recently after getting very lucky with hiring Tom Brady and also having a very competent coach over there. They've made their next appointment and it's been absolutely terrible, and they're going back to being a basket case like they were before. Like, it's hilarious to watch just how incompetent they are at both on both sides of the Atlantic. And it will be beautiful if we just get taken over by someone competent. Like, you look at the job that FSG have done at Liverpool, like it's not even been particularly, it's been impressive, but it's not been particularly outlandish what they've done. It's just been
actually just followed the US sports model.
It's just competency, and it's like and doing that with United is even easier. Should be. Yeah.
Should be. Although United's financials, as I spoke about last time out, were pretty disastrous and horrible. So it's going to take purchase price plus £600 million worth of debt, which would be taken off the purchase price, obviously. A couple of $100 million in transfer fees owed, and massive investment in the stadium. I think I was reading a piece this week that most of a brand new stadium would be between 1.2 and 1.6 at the kind of size of stadium United would be looking at, 80,000 plus, which seems about right for sports stadiums if you're not building the SoFi in LA, which was an insane amount of money, or a refit of Old Trafford, which is still going to take a couple $100 million because it needs it badly. plus potentially expansion over the south stand if it's possible, technically, engineering-wise, to hang over the railway line. So, I mean, yeah, I imagine that whoever buys United or the Glazers would be looking at that route because it's cheaper. So it's a huge amount of money and a huge amount of debt and a huge required outlay in the club as well. So, someone with deep pockets required, but and a difficult business model to get right unless you're prepared to make that investment. And that will be part of the negotiation as well, because it's not like it's a secret. Everyone knows that there is latent build-up of investment required because the Glazers haven't been doing it. So,
but I still think, in the grand scheme of things, like obviously Liverpool are up for sale as well at the moment. United is still a much more appealing prospect than Liverpool are right now. You just the potential that comes with United, of the status of the club and the fan base of the club. Whereas you look with Liverpool, like that they could. It feels to me that they could easily get cut adrift quite quickly if they don't make the Champions League for a couple of seasons. They could be in a little bit of trouble, especially if their owners if they don't hit the ground running a little bit in the Todd Bowley kind of respect. It's funny that we kind of having this conversation very soon after I think about 3 or 4 months ago, when Glazers weren't putting us up for sale, we were talking about United potentially getting cut adrift. If we get taken over by someone very competent, I'd fear if I was a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, well, they don't have the same global fan base, and their commercials and their financials have been increasing because they've been getting more TV revenue from going deep into the Champions League every year for a while, and that comes along with sponsors and stuff. But they're not in as strong a position like as a base as United. It's just they don't have £600 million worth of debt, and FSG have been investing in the stadium and modernising Anfield and increasing Anfield's size. And they've obviously been successful, and they've got an excellent coach with a strong squad, although the revamp is not quite going as well as they want. So,
and that's the thing. That's
the other thing that.
Sorry, just quickly on that last thing about Liverpool is that they have had to get everything right over the last few years, which they have pretty much done. This window that they had in the summer has been not looking potentially great. Like Nunes has been a potential flop so far. Arta's been not great. Their new style of football isn't great. Like they start to that perfection that they've had for so many years starts to waver. Like, we could see them. I'm talking in hope as much as logic, but it would be lovely if they started to tail off a little bit. Missed out on the Champions League this year, then they could be in a little bit of trouble.
Good, let's hope so. Yeah. The other thing that happened is that United announced they were, it's really weirdly worded. They've negotiated with TeamViewer to be able to buy out the contract with TeamViewer. Now, we know that TeamViewer basically couldn't afford the front shirt sponsorship, but United did it anyway. The second mental sponsorship United. I mean, I give United one thing. They are able to sell coals to Newcastle, ice to Eskimos, whatever terminology you want there. They have flogs to Chevrolet and to TeamViewer sponsorships that it appears the companies did not want and could
Who
not
are they
afford.
speaking to at these companies? Who's signing it off?
I don't know. It's the long game. It's a long con, isn't it? They're like, right, where's our mark?
Yeah.
We're gonna get these people. Anyway, TeamViewer, who are basically a startup and couldn't afford it. So, wanted out. So I'm sure United are not buying the contract out when they find a new sponsor at full rates, because that wouldn't make any sense. There'll be they've come to some kind of negotiation, and then TeamViewer will become a sponsor. A global partner, as United like to call them, which I guess will be the cost of the buyout fee, something like that. So I wonder who we're going to get next. Who do you reckon, Tom? Who do you want on the front of the shirt?
Oh, it'd be beautiful if we had nothing, like a la Forest. It's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, be interesting. It'll look good.
As long as it's not like something like Spotify, so we have like Drake's logo on the front of our shirt, like Barcelona do. That would be awful. God.
Who'd be a cool sponsor?
I'm trying to think who's got
that could actually afford
a good logo.
That's what you want, really. You want a cool looking logo. Chevrolet was so cheap.
Oh, yeah. It's always been a terrible logo, that Chevrolet logo.
Well, if you look back to the 50s, classic Chevrolet logo is
is
actually
it
quite
really?
nice, monochrome.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
go
looking
look it
at
up.
right now.
Classic Chevrolet logo. I think it would actually look pretty good.
Yeah.
So just in monochrome, not with the gold and silver. Flat as well, not with the beveling that they had on the...
That is, 40s and 50s actually during World War II. Looks really nice.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, fair
Yep.
enough. I think like
So,
McDonald's.
I don't know. I can't think of it. Oh,
that's
God.
like what the kids. I don't know if that's just around where I grew up, but all the kids' shirts used to have McDonald's on it. It'd be like a very throwback to under-8 football.
Well, they sponsored school sports for a long time.
There we go. Yeah, because
just got to get them in early. You hook them on the Happy Meals and your
hook them
customers
on
for
healthy
life.
eating from an early age. Perfect stuff. That and Coca-Cola, which sponsors all stuff like that.
I don't know. It's going to be some bank or something boring, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
As
like at
long
least
as-
like I mean, to be fair, I'd heard of TeamViewer, I'd heard of Chevrolet, which is kind of okay. Never heard of AIG before that one, or Aon. Aon, what was Aon?
Insurance.
Very beautiful.
Insurance underwriting. I think exciting. We'll probably get some bank or something like that.
Exciting, is it? As long as it's we're not going to go down the gambling front.
Well, I suspect with a football regulator coming in that front of shirt may be prohibited. I mean, there's been talk about that for a while, and it's happened in other sports, hasn't it? They've been pulling back from gambling, but there's other ways of doing it, right? Without it being front of shirt, you just have all the billboards around the stadium.
With all the crypto madness going on as well, where like
God, let's hope it's not crypto.
City have been, I think, caught a couple, maybe a couple of times with basically
Fulham too had an obvious pyramid scheme as a sponsor.
And like some of the companies that these teams are being associated with don't even, like the CEOs don't even exist. They're just fronts for.
That's right. They're selling crypto to emerging markets and get rich quick schemes. It's really disgusting. Actually,
it really
some
is.
Of it. Yes, I do fear for that kind of thing, especially if it's the Glazers still in charge when that happens.
We're not going to be sponsored by Donald Trump NFTs, are we?
Oh God, wouldn't
With
that be
that
amazing?
one that was, I think, going around social media a couple of days ago it's him with like the laser beams coming out of his eyes and a T where like the S would be in Superman, like a cape. Oh my God, that video. If you've not seen that video, you really need to go and check it out. It's Donald Trump NFT.
I have not. I will go check it out. I did check out some of the NFTs. It's his big announcement. And everyone's like, oh, is he announcing he's not running for president? Oh, whatever. No, it's a grifter scheme. It's flogging NFTs for $99.
Why change the habit of a lifetime though with him? That's literally what that's how his family have always got rich. And so why not? Why not just keep it going with a little...
Well, maybe we'll get a cool logo. I don't know. Playboy. What do you reckon?
Interesting.
So
probably not the...
Hugh Hefner not turning up because
not the most progressive company in the world, but...
It would not... No. It would not be... No, anyway. That one's not happening. It will be some kind of very boring global company that wants to get even more global recognition, I imagine. All right. Visit Qatar it is.
Yeah, as long is that better than visit Rwanda? I don't know.
No. So, I guess that's it. Enjoy Burnley, everyone, and the World Cup final. I'm not sure which is the biggest game of those two. It's closer, I think.
True.
But Burnley, by the way, I meant to mention it. It was the sellout, which is unusual for a Carling Cup game, Carabao Cup game.
Yeah.
And they've had to refund 12,000 people's tickets because I think it's because of the ambulance strike, or is it the train strike? It's a strike anyway, and they're worried about capacity, so they've had to cut the capacity and refund people's tickets. So unfortunately, 12,000 people won't see the game.
They're also one of your favourite teams, aren't they, Burnley?
I love them.
I don't know if that's. I know you love them under Sean Dyche, but I don't know if that is maybe lessened.
I have to admit, I haven't seen them at all they're top of the championship.
Vincent Kompany.
So.
Doing a very good job after.
Haven't seen them play at all. They don't have Martin Vikors, do they? They send him out somewhere.
Maybe
Turkey,
they're playing a little bit more of a stylish brand of football. It's interesting with Kompany because he did really badly at Anderlecht, and I thought he would just be one of these big name former footballers who would just flop. But he's done a pretty good job so far, to be fair. And I thought he was quite good from the clips. I wasn't in England when he was on BBC coverage, but I thought from the clips I saw he was quite a good pundit, actually. But,
all very good. Enjoy it, everyone. Catch you soon after the World Cup. If you like the show, the way you can support us best is by leaving us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And it really doesn't matter what you say in that review either. You can say you'd rather we talked about Manchester City and Liverpool. Just hit those 5 stars. Many thanks.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.